Hey guys, this is OJB from the ventilation shop, and today we're going to be discussing how to fabricate an end cap, an S&Drive end cap in the shop. This is something you might see on the listing ticket, so I'll kind of go through it. They want a 10 by 10 end cap, EC. That's what end cap stands for. Now different places might mark it differently. Some might just say duct cap, some might just spell the word out, end cap. Some might abbreviate it. There's a lot of ways. Every shop's different, but in here, EC generally stands for end cap. Okay, and as you can see, it's 10 by 10 S cleat by 10 drive, and I want 26 gauge. I want it made out of 26 gauge. Now, here, guys, I'm gonna just tell you this now. This metal is 22. The reason it is, I got so much of it, scrap of it. I just figured I'd use up what I got, and the first step, guys, in making an end cap is coming up with the cut list, the piece of metal. And as you can see, that's 12 by 12. And how we get that is, if it's a cap like this, S&Drive, whatever the finished dimensions are, these are the finished dimensions, you just add 2 inches. Okay, so 10 by 10 goes to 12 by 12. That's what you're going to cut the piece of metal. So it's, just put it here. So 10 plus 2 equals 12. And then the other side's 10. 10 plus 2 equals 12, right? And you got 12 by 12, right? So if you had a cap, say, 18 by 8, it'd be 20 by 10, right? That's just how you do it. Okay, so like I said, we got a piece of metal right here. And we're going to just now show you how to lay this out. And I'm going to go over some very basic layout principles. To give you guys a time, this is a very simple thing to make. You could do this in like 5 minutes. This video might be longer than that because I'm going to be explaining things. But let's get the camera adjusted here. Okay. Cool. All right, let's take a look. Make sure we all can see this. And the basic tools you're going to need on this is just snips and a scriber, which if you've been following my which tools to buy next videos, you will know I already talked about that. So, the first thing first is on an end cap, you're going to set the scriber. I just set it, it was already set at 1 inch, but we're going to set it to 1 inch. Hope you can see that. Okay, and you're going to just mark 1 inch. 4 sides. Okay. Now I wanna explain this to you because in this it's not really gonna make a lot of sense. But as you get into more complex things to lay out, even if you have a burn table, you should understand what it is when people give you stuff, what they're talking about, right? So in layout, there are 3 dimensions. Okay, raw, finish, and layout lines. Okay, now in this, it just happens to be that the finish and the layout are the same, but what a raw dimension is it's what the actual metal is, like the cut list, the raw metal, right? That's 12 by 12. That would be the raw dimensions. Layout is in between any how to put this, depending on if it's a welded frame, TDC, S&Drive, angle iron frame. There's different ways to connect the duct to each other. Layout, and you need to may have different allowances. So layout is anything between, basically on the end cap, the layout is between the lines. So the layout and the finish are actually the same on this, the 10 by 10, right? On a piece of duct, this will make more sense. But when we say raw dimensions, we mean what the metal actually is, what the raw metal is. And finish is when everything's bent, all the seams are bent on it, all that stuff. What does it come out to? And it will be 10 by 10. Okay. So when we get into duct, I'll get into a little bit more on layout lines, just so you can see it. But for the purposes, just remember this: raw means overall metal size. finishes, once all the seams and the bends and the are put onto it, what does it come out then? Okay, so that's the basic difference. And I'll get into layout lines in a piece of duct, because it's pretty easy to see there. When you get into transitions and elbows, that's when you really start to really need to understand what this is. But just understand that when people say raw, total overall metal, finishes, when everything's done, what will come out to be. Okay, so actually I'm gonna mark that out just so you guys can see this. I really, if there's one thing you got out of this video, it's not even the end cap. It's, I get a better marker. So again, raw is the edge of the metal, you know, and then this first line is finish, right? Just want you guys to all understand that. Finish, raw, okay? So, now that we've got that, okay, now that we go on that little tangent, let's notch it. When you notch it, you're not going to go straight. You're going to want a little bit of an angle up to here. Some people really 45 it down here. That's an option. I've been taught, I've been in places that do both ways. So just a slight angle, so you can see it's not, the cuts are not 90, they're just a little bit. And that's so when you put the drive or the S on, which will be a different video, it's goes on easier. Some of the other ways is they mark out the 1/2 inch and then they just 45 it. That's totally fine too. Whatever way they want you to do it, where you work at, that's the way you can do it. Okay. And then you really get the idea of what I mean by raw and finish once I do the notching, right? Cool, right? Here we go. So, like I said, the raw dimension is 12, but if you to measure here to here, you can see what I mean. It's 10. That's what I mean by the finish dimension, right? So, this is all ready to form up now, and here we go. So first thing first, we're going to stick this over here. And you go up to this first line. An inch, it's at the blade, you're gonna bend it up. Yeah, I'm gonna put the camera over here and just bend this up quickly. And then you do so we can see we got two sides bent up. Okay. Let's go. Oh, I got a piece of duct in the way. Machine is called a drive turner. I mean, yep, it can only go to 24. So if you need to drive more than 24 inches, this will not work. See if I can get this in. And it's got teeth in it, and what it is you try to get the 1 inch in between the teeth. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can do this while holding the camera. Yep, make sure it's in there all the way, then you bend it up. Do not slam down too hard or you'll put like little divots in it. And then you release. Comes up. Oops. Oh no. I gotta use two hands for this, guys. Let me see if I can set this up here. not the best video, guys. Alright, guys. Now that we saw it, I'll bend it up here. Like I said, you don't want to slam down on it or put divots in. Yeah, you can see the drive. Now we got one more thing to do on this and it's all done. Okay. And that is this. We are going to have to set these, reset this up. So, this is 10, so I need a little less than 10. I just got to take this one out, put a 3 in. This is 10 exactly, so it won't fit. Kind of wish they had like, kind of wish these teeth came in halves. That way it would be, because you really, usually you're bending like a 1/2 inch shy. Like I said, we'll take this one out, and then we'll put a 3 in. See if we can hold this camera while we're doing this. Tighten it up. Tighten it up. And we put a 2 in. So that's 4, 7, 9. Okay. It says a little shy. Put this up, back up here. Cool, cool, cool. And then what you do is you put this in. You go, so now we're on the, I'm gonna go here. Hope you can see this. The line where I marked originally, the 1 inch is now bent. Bend it up. We'll go up 90. And we're going to turn this whole thing around and do the other side. See if I can get to the end just so you can see it. And that, my friends, let me back the camera up a bit. That is an end cap. Now I want to talk one more thing about the end cap, okay? When you list, now, an end cap is not flat, and I just want you to understand this. It is a 1/2 inch. It is a 1/2 inch long, okay? It has to be a 1/2 inch long. You can't make it flat because you need the drive. So I want you to understand that. So if you're ever measuring something out, and let's say you need the overall length of a piece of duct to be 24 inches, and you forget to take this, you forget to subtract the 1/2 inch of the duct, right? Let's say there's a wall, so you can't be more than 24 inches or you hit the wall, right? If you don't do that, the duct, when you put the end cap on, will be 24.5. I hope that makes sense, right? So you got to remember that the end cap adds a 1/2 inch in length. So please keep that in mind. When I was starting measuring out jobs, trust me, I forgot that a couple times, and I was really mad at myself. Because then you got to cut a 1/2 inch off. It's just not. Just remember that, all right? So that, my friends, is an S and drive handicap. And if you don't know, this 1 inch, that's the S. That's for the S cleat. And then the bent here we did, that's for the drive. That's how we actually connect it, right? So, and again, it's a 1/2 inch, not 1 inch that's long. What happens is when you connect it to the duct, and I'll have a video where we do this, they overlap a 1/2 inch. The duct's 1 inch will overlap this by a 1/2 inch, and they'll meet. The two drives will touch. So when I make a piece of duct, you'll see what I mean by that. So anyways, guys, that is how you make an end cap. Like I said, it's like a 5-minute thing. If you had like 20 to make, you'd probably cut everything, mark everything, do them all at once. So that's it, guys. I hope you have a good day, and thank you for tuning in.